All right, what's up, guys? We're back with another Tesla video. Tesla margins under pressure as UAW strike, costing automakers each day. Let's check this out.
JP Morgan has upped
Yahoo
their estimates around
Finance.
how much the UAW strikes will cost big automakers. Already, the strike is estimated to have cost GM and Ford more than $500 million each since the effort began.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. That $500 million so far. Wow. Previous estimates 150, 145. Right now it's at 500 million each. Okay, jeez.
And with no clear path ahead to a compromise, the damage could only
44
continue.
days.
JP Morgan estimates that GM could continue to lose $21 million, and that's per day, and
Oh, per
$44 million
day.
a day for Ford here. However, the UAW expanded its strike to Ford's
Wow.
crucial Kentucky truck plant. Ford could now lose as much as $44 million per day there on the comparisons that you're seeing there on your screen. With more, let's bring in Greg Migliori, who is the Autoblog editor-in-chief. Greg, I mean, these are coming into massive sums at this point, and Ford had already come out last week and said, economically, we've already kind of hit their threshold or hit this limit. At least that's what they said. But now this is
Whoa.
continuing to have a
This is
day-by-day impact
crazy.
on just production, on even hits to being able to monetize what they've already sought to bring to market in the future weeks and months here. So what type of broader impact, how much longer could we see this play out?
Hey, good morning, everybody. So the UAW expanding the strike to the Kentucky truck factory, you nailed it. That's the single most, I think, significant development of the strike so far. That factory accounts for $25 billion in annual revenue for Ford. That's larger than a lot of major companies. What do you think about that? Now, there's other factories that do build the F-Series, including the historic Rouge plant that's in Michigan. But this is a significant blow. The F-Series has been the best-selling vehicle in the United States since the late 1970s. So by targeting this factory, it really sort of ups the ante.
Damn, man.
It really puts more pressure on Ford. Now, on the other hand, General Motors agreeing to bring in some battery factories, allow them to be unionized as part of the master agreement, is perhaps the most significant milestone towards progress, I think. They also made some progress over the weekend with GM and Ford in the last couple of weeks agreeing to deals with the Canadian unions. So these things are possible as far as reaching an agreement. The last strike actually went about 40 days. That was a national strike against General Motors. And, it definitely, hurt that automaker for, several months, several quarters as far as profits. But right now it's tough to tell when it's going to end.
So this is crazy. Okay, so GM and Ford are already in trouble with the transition to EVs. They're already they're losing huge amounts of money on every sale. Everyone thought the competition would be coming. It's a 12-year race right now, and the competition still hasn't caught up yet. Not even close to catching up. They're still losing money. Ford is still losing money. They're slowing down their Ford F-150 Lightning production because I believe no one's buying the cars. The Mustang came out the same year as the Model Y, guys. The Ford Mach-E Mustang came out the same year as the Tesla Model Y, and the Ford Mach-E sells 50,000 units a year, and the Tesla Model Y sells 700,000 a year. So it's just ridiculous. They're already struggling, and these strikes are making it worse. Man, I feel so bad for the workers. I'm watching some news stories too, and you see them on strike in the streets, but they just kind of don't really get what the long-term implications of this is. The president of Ford is like, we're gonna go bankrupt if you guys get your way. So they're kind of like striking themselves out of a job. Short term it might be okay. They might get a pay bump short term, but Ford and GM and Stellantis have to transition to electric vehicles. Like it's inevitable. I know a lot of people don't think that that's going to happen. Don't think that it's true, but it's true. The electric vehicle is just a better product than a gas-powered car. Like, ask anyone with an electric vehicle, they'll say they'll never go back to a gas vehicle. I have two. I have a Model 3 and a Model Y. I would never go back in a million years to gas-powered. There's no maintenance. The performance is better. The technology is better. They're safer. It's just a better product overall. It's like asking, would you ever go back to a phone with no internet? Like, there's no way. Like, it's just a better vehicle. It's just a better product. And the world is moving in that direction. So these strikes are only making it way worse. They've lost $500 million, both companies so far. And even if they reach some kind of a deal, it's going to take a while to ramp up production again. Plus, they're going to have to deal with these big wage increases. They have to deal with that. And the new GM battery plant that GM was proposing to kind of catch up to Tesla they now have to be unionized. So those batteries that you thought that were going to be cheaper are not going to be cheaper. This is just a disaster. It's a huge, huge disaster. And the UAW president, it just came out that he makes like over $300,000 a year. And he wore a shirt that said, "Eat the rich." So what the heck is going on, man? Like, what is happening with this? If you are involved in this at all in any way, please comment down below and let me know your thoughts, because I love hearing from actual UAW members about this topic.
So, Greg, we still don't really know about the timeline of this. Obviously, millions at stake when we break it down by that per day impact. But when we talk about a new contract and what that could potentially mean here for these automakers, any sense just how big of a hit they could take if they do, in fact, go with what the unions want to say in terms of the inclusion of the upcoming battery plants, and then also just the higher salaries and benefits?
Right now, it's a little hard, I think, to kind of cut through sort of the rhetoric on both sides as far as just how much of a financial impact this might have long term. We do know General Motors has signaled that they might take a $200 million hit just in third quarter earnings, which we're going to hear about later this month. So obviously, they're going to start to feel that impact immediately. Bigger picture, labor has always been a part of costs for any automaker. So whether they end up with like a 23% raise, which is what Ford most recently offered, or something closer to what the union has asked for, which was closer to 40, perhaps they meet in the middle and maybe they find a number that's tenable for both sides.
So Ford offered a 23% raise. So yeah, and then the unions want 40, so they'll meet somewhere in the middle. So what do you guys think that's going to be? 30% raise? You think they'll get that? 35 maybe?
All right, Greg, we're also watching Tesla. It's a big story this week. We're going to get earnings results from the company after the bell on Wednesday. When it comes to the EV maker, lots of talk about the pressure that the price cuts are going to put on margins. And of course, this comes after their third quarter delivery numbers fell short of what the street was looking for. Give us the sense of what you're expecting to hear from Tesla and how that's going to shape maybe the price action that we see in the stock over the coming months.
It's really interesting. Tesla has cut prices multiple times this year, and several of their models are actually really good deals. It's actually a pretty good time to buy a Tesla if you could get your hands on one. They're below the average price of a new vehicle, which was $48,000 in October. Now, the other side of this for Tesla is lower prices cut into margins, which means...
Okay, hold on a sec. This is awesome. Okay, this is great news. I love when they do this because a lot of people want Tesla to advertise, right? I'm kind of one of those people, not advertise in the sense of like, you can get a new car, like, the traditional ads, but just to inform people of the benefits of electric vehicles, like how much you save on gas, how the technology behind it, over there air updates, certain things like that people don't have no idea on. But the price is a huge deal as well. People still think the Teslas cost $100,000 each. Ask people on the street right now. People think Teslas cost 100K plus. They do not. And the fact that they're advertising for Tesla, look at this, the Model 3, $38,000 for a Model 3. And then plus you get the tax write-off if you live in the States. I live in Canada. But this is amazing. Model 3 performance, $50,000. The Model Y performance. I don't know why they didn't put the Model Y base model. They should have put that too. But whatever. This is an ad for Tesla. This is awesome. And I love to see it. So this is great. And they're gonna be like, oh, margins are gonna be down. They're gonna sell more cars. Economy of scale is gonna come into play. They're gonna they're gonna make less, yes, but after a certain amount of time, economy of scale comes in, and then the profits will go up as well.
Third quarter earnings are probably going to be a little bit lighter, more pedestrian than we've seen in some recent years. The other hand, they've succeeded in propping up sales. Sales were up about 27% in the third quarter. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, I think, here for Tesla. The competition has gotten tougher. That's a big takeaway I see. You guys ran a study that said 57% of US car buyers are not interested in EVs. And that tells me you have that on one side, and then you have all these new EVs from Hyundai, Ford, Volkswagen, General Motors. The list goes on. There's, right now the pie hasn't gotten bigger. So I think that's put more pressure on Tesla, and it's a much more competitive landscape. As you take a longer look, though, Tesla stock is still up about $50 from last year, and it's more than doubled from that low point it kind of hit in January. So I think they're going to have an okay, I think, performance here with the third quarter earnings. The big thing is what are they going to say about the Cybertruck? That's what I'm really looking most forward to.
So, yeah, like I was saying, what do you say? 51, 52% of people, Americans, would say they would never get electric vehicles. I think those people aren't informed on the price, the savings on, even if you tell them about the savings on gas alone. I said this story a couple times, maybe you haven't seen it, but one of our realtor friends said he has a pickup truck. He spends $700 a month on gas, and we spend $30 a month on extra electricity for our cars. So if you tell people how much they'll save on gas alone, that there's no maintenance. I've had my Model 3 for 5 years, and I've never had to change the brakes. I got them checked. They said they're 95% good, my brakes. So 5 years, no brake change, no oil changes, no maintenance, way less on fuel, on electricity. Over-the-air updates, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. The safest vehicles in the world. I can watch Netflix and YouTube from my car. It has Sentry mode. Someone rear-ended me, and it recorded the whole situation on all 7 cameras around the car, and it was totally their fault. And I sent my insurance the videos, and it was all cleared up. There's just endless things that the electric vehicles have, especially Teslas, that gas-powered cars don't have. And a lot of these people they're not informed. That's why they're such, they don't really, I'd never get it because of the range. People think the range is a big deal. So unless you drive most people drive about 50 miles a day and under. I live in Canada, I say kilometers. My Model Y can go over 400 kilometers of range, and I drive less than 50 kilometers a day. So the range anxiety is not really a thing anymore, but people don't really understand that fact, especially when you're dealing with Teslas and you get the long range models. Range isn't really an issue at all, but a lot of those people are just ill-informed, and more electric cars hit the road, the more Tesla grows. Cybertrucks get out there, the Model 2 gets out there, people start going to the website, they start doing more research, they start talking to their neighbors, they start watching videos like this. It's just going to be exponential growth in terms of electric cars, because it's like, would you go back to a phone with no internet? Hell no. So it's just a better product, and it's just a matter of time before it takes off.
So that's exactly where I wanted to go, Greg. What could they say about the Cybertruck that would perhaps put investors' attention and even analysts' attention on that? Traveling shape is what it is, essentially. I mean, my goodness, we haven't actually seen it come to market. We don't have a time frame. We don't have pricing strategy, really, on that. And so what could they possibly indicate?
So they did kind of dole out a little bit of soup, if you will, in the last week. News has come out that they have an agreement with a Finnish manufacturer for the metal panels that will go on the truck, which is a very unusual approach to manufacturing. You don't see this type of material used very much. So they've sort of kind of, dribbled it out a little bit. I think anything else they can say about that will be, eagerly awaited by investors. And, again, we don't know a ton about pricing, more details about the truck itself. where they're going to sell it, the sort of rollout, all of that stuff I think will be crucial for Tesla.
Certainly will. Look at those results after the bell on Wednesday. Greg Migliore, always great to have you. Thanks so much, Audible.
So I don't think the Cybertruck news about, you know, it when it comes out, how much it is, that stuff's not gonna, it's not important for a long-term. If you're a long-term investor like me, 10 plus years investor, I buy the stock every month, been buying since 2018. I don't really care about the short term, and even the short term, I don't think that'll do anything once they let people know that, you know, it's coming out on this date for this price and these are the specs. I don't think that'll do anything. But over time, you know, as they start to ramp the Cybertruck the Cybertruck facilities, and they get more of these on the road, 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, then that's when it's going to start to make an impact. And seeing it on the road, talking to people with a Cybertruck, people going to the website, actually getting interested in Teslas, that's where the impact will happen. Not so much in the first year or even maybe even the second year of ramp. I think they'll make very limited number, but I think in the years to come, as it starts to get, you know, fully ramped and it starts to explode all over work sites. I used to be in construction. I was an electrician for 9 years. And I know if this thing rolled up to this site, man, people would be so interested in this truck. So I have one on reserve too. I'm going to get one. I have like 130,000 on the list. So I should get one, you know, in a couple years. There's over 2 million pre-orders right now. My wife looked into it yesterday. She wanted to get one for herself, but there's over 2 million people. So it's going to be like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years before she gets that. But yeah, I don't think the Cybertruck will move the stock in the near term anyway, but over time for sure. So guys, don't forget to like the video before you go and subscribe to the channel, guys. It's about time. If this is like the 5th video you've watched of me, there's 95% of you that have not subbed yet. Only 5% are subbed. So get subscribed, hit that big red button. There's over, I think 30% of my audience is over 65. If you're over 65, hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, check out Patreon if you want to support me, support the channel, and help me to purchase more stock. All right, I'll see you next time. I'm out of here.